Hello and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you've been with me since January of 2023, you will know that Embracing the Fight is about normalizing the conversation surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. So think about it. Who wants anyone to know, what issues they have? A lot of people, when they're dealing with something, they usually, hold it inside because of the fear of being judged. I've learned that if you tell people what you have going on up front and first, that level of honesty and integrity goes a long way with most people. And yeah, sure, you have those folks that, will turn away or run away from you depending on, what it is that you tell them. But that's just, I believe, God's way of weeding out the weak souls that aren't meant to be in your life anyway. So no sense in crying over spilled milk or people who won't stand or stand beside you, be your strength during your time of weakness. So, with that being said, I want you to be a part of Embracing the Fight. I need guests. So, if you have a story to tell, a testimony, or if you just, want to come on here, you just want to chat for a moment about a specific topic, I would love to have you. So, please reach out to me at operations at diversitydesigned.com. Again, that's operations at diversitydesigned.com. Now that I've gotten it all out of the way, let's go on to episode 72, Healthy Habits. So when you think about, healthy habits, you need to separate it, into categories of mind, body and soul, because you are a three-dimensional, being in a sense. So let's start with your mind. You know that your brain is virtually a muscle, not like the muscles, in your arm that you can pick up weights and lift them and make them grow. It's more of a muscle that you can grow in the sense of, your cognitive, ability. So the more that you read, the more that you try tasks that you wouldn't normally do, the things that challenge you, that you go ahead and you try and you focus and you go from beginning to end, those things help your brain to grow. So you also have like crossword puzzles, those Sudoku puzzles. You have those, and there's like, back in the day, we had a little Rubik's Cube, action going on, but a lot of things that, people don't really pay a whole lot of attention to that, does, really help with your cognitive ability is writing. So writing is becoming, virtually a lost art in a sense, because right now you can type on your computer, you can tell, some form of AI what to say or what to write. Whenever you're thinking, whatever you're thinking, you can, tell your Amazon Alexa and your little Hey Google and all these different things. You can tell them, what you want them to do without writing it down. So when's the last time you actually picked up a pen and put it to a piece of paper? Now, sure, those people that have children and you're trying to teach them, how to write, or you work in an industry where physically writing or signing, documents, things of that nature cause you to use that, that ability, every so often, then that side of your brain, stays sharp. Because I think about, I went to school for electrical engineering and physics, and some of those calculus problems and, Cal 4 differential equations, all those statistics, things of that nature. I'm honestly, if you would sit that book in front of me right now and say, you have to do this or you're gonna die, I need to know who's gonna be preaching my funeral because some of that stuff I cannot, remember. Now, honestly, if I'm given a moment to, read it and someone teach it to me again, then I can do it. So that's what it's all about when it comes to your cognitive ability. Once you have a skill, once you know how to do something, you should use it, because if you don't use it, you lose it. For instance, I learned how to play piano when I was in elementary and middle school. You put a piano in front of me now. I mean, I remember some of the chords, I can read some of the music, but I cannot play the beautiful melodies that I could play before because I didn't use that portion of my brain. So when it comes to your brain, you have to do things that you learn to do, on a regular basis. And you have to strengthen your brain by doing harder things that you wouldn't normally do. Like, for instance, let's just say somebody brings you a puzzle, to put together. Would you look at the box and try to figure out, okay, how can I make these pieces look like what's in this box? Or do you just throw all the pieces on the floor, challenge yourself to put it together based off of, sizes, shapes, colors, things of that nature. So if you look at the box, you are slightly stealing part, of the cognitive ability to guess. But at the same time, you are strengthening the side of reasoning because it's telling you this is what it should look like. So you should work hard and try to put this particular thing together. So you have to make this a healthy habit. So what exactly is a habit? So it is a routine thing that you do that soon becomes involuntary. Like it just happens. You just do it just because, like, first thing you do, you wake up in the morning and say you pray, right? If you do that every day for the next, 30 days or whatever, that is a habit if you continue to do it. Okay. Or if you get up and you say, I'm going to read, some scripture, or I'm going to read some type of devotional, or I'm going to read some uplifting information that is going to awaken my mind, it's going to cause me to think, question, do more research, and not something that just, is a feel good kind of book, those books where the guy meets the girl and then they live happily ever after, nothing like that. I mean, something that totally challenges your mind, that says to you, well, I'm here, but I want to get here. And if I keep reading these things, sooner or later, this world is going to reach this world, and my brain is going to conform to wanting to grow, to wanting to know more and to be better. So, that can have an impact also on your memory, in years to come. So let's exercise our brains starting right now. And if you've never read a book all the way through, take the time to pick something you might like, read it all the way through. If you've never done a crossword puzzle, try it. If you've never put together, a actual puzzle, try it. If you don't know how to read a map, read a map. If you don't understand anything about crypto or stocks or anything like that, take the time to learn it, because all the people that you see that are extremely successful, they became successful based off of the things that they were willing to take the time to learn. All right. So now you have your mind. We've talked about that a little bit. Let's talk about your body. What is a healthy habit, for your body? Exercise, right? So if you are exercising, daily, you'll start seeing, subtle changes in your body. Because, a lot of people think of it like this. They try to say, oh, it took me no time, to gain weight. It took me no time to get fat. It took me no time, lose this muscle. I went to sleep one night and I woke up and I was, 50 pounds heavier. No, it didn't work like that. So you gain weight, gradually over time. You just don't notice it, as much because it doesn't require any work, to gain weight, not of your body. You don't have to have, a routine or a habit to gain weight. All you gotta do is just eat. Even though, I guess you could say that eating is a habit because you gotta do it every day. But if you are just constantly eating and you're not paying any attention to what you're eating, that is a bad habit. We want healthy habits. We want good habits. So pay attention to what it is that you're putting into your body. Make sure that you are eating properly, from all the food groups, and make sure that before you change, anything with your diet, don't go with these fads or things like that. There are doctors, there are nutritionists, there are people out there that can do, various tests on you and determine, what is your A1C, what is your insulin level, what, cholesterol, what are your, triglycerides, what are all these different things, that's going on, in your body that can be impacted by what you eat and how much you exercise. So eating and exercise both go hand in hand when it comes to forming healthy habits that will help, your body to grow and to, for you to feel better. For instance, I know that, the better years for me playing tennis, are behind me, but that doesn't mean I have to stop playing tennis. It just means that I have to exercise, stretch, eat right, and make sure I'm paying more attention to my joints so I'm not harming myself, as much. Now, I have gone to see an orthopedic doctor, in the past couple of weeks, and he was like, "Oh, you got arthritis in your knees, and oh, you don't have any tears or anything that I can see." And I'm sitting here going, "How do you know if I got a tear or not?" Because we didn't do an MRI. But I digress. Either way, his word of encouragement to me was that even though you might have, arthritis in your knees, as long as you can still move and exercise and it's not a debilitating pain, he encouraged me to go ahead and exercise. Why is that? He said that exercising and eating right will help me get my body to a very healthy, weight, and all the pressure that's going on my knees, it could either reduce or subside, one or the other. Because losing weight does nothing but help take the pressure, off of your knees. And at that point, I was like, you know what? He is right. Because every time I lose weight, my knees stop hurting a little bit more, than previously. So I also found that when I eat a lot of sugar, it bothers my joints as well. I don't know if that affects, everyone else, but sugar, does a lot of negative things to your body when you consume too much, of it anyway. But I notice personally, if I eat sugar and I wake up the next day, it's like my knees like, oh gosh, what did I do to myself? And I know the guys at work, if they're watching this, they're probably laughing too, because it's like, no, your knees are like that because you go out there running around thinking you 15, 20 years old playing tennis when you every bit of 46 years old. And at the same time, I have to know that the right amount of weight, the proper food that I eat can help improve that situation, regardless of, whether I'm sliding on the tennis court or if I am running, along the road, or if I'm riding on a bike, or if I'm in the gym, lifting weights. I know that if I develop healthy habits, that I can only get better, within my body. So now that we've talked about our mind and body, let's talk a little bit, about our soul. So what do you do as far as a healthy habit when it comes to your soul? Now, I'll just be honest. There was a time in my life where I was constantly, feeding my soul, feeding my spirit with God's word, with inspirational things. And as of late, I have found that a lot of other, influences around me have been affecting, just how I feel. And it was interesting because I was talking to a really good friend of mine, and I won't, mention who it was, but she was telling me that she was, kind of feeling, down and didn't know why. And I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like that too. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, what have I been listening to? What have I been spending my time doing? Who have I been talking to? Because even if you have, the love of God and the anointing of his spirit and all of this all over you, it, even if you got all that negativity can creep in if you find yourself around people who do nothing but speak negatively, or people that request things of you that are outside of your character. Or it could be, something simple, something trivial where you're sitting here saying, you know what, these people over here, they're rich, they're making all this money, they're doing all these things. But at the same time, do you know the condition of their soul? What habits did they have in order for them to get to where they are? Because, like, for instance, look at Diddy. That's one of the hot topics, in the world news right now. And he's done so many heinous and crazy things that you just couldn't even imagine, allegedly at this point, because I don't know, that they found any proof or anything like that. And I'm not saying he didn't do it or he did do it. I'm just saying man is filthy rich. And now you're hearing about all these stories about all this craziness, that he's done, that has impacted all these people. And he did it all, for the love of money. What was he feeding his soul? What was he listening to every day? What was he surrounding himself with? Because whatever all that stuff was, it eventually overcame him and morphed into this heinous act or this heinous being. And some of the things that you hear that may have happened, it's just unfathomable. Like, why would anybody treat another person that way? What could have happened to them? What was fed into their soul? But then, sure, you don't even have to look at famous people. You can just go around, some of your neighborhoods right now, some street, anywhere in your area, and you can literally see a person that is strung out on drugs, that is yelling, screaming, and pointing at something that is not there. And sure, you'll say, oh, they fed themselves drugs, that's why they're doing it. What caused them to do that? What causes a person to reach their breaking point and say, you know what? I don't want to live life, like normally anymore. I just want to do drugs and just, live in a different reality than the reality that I have. So it's mind blowing to me, mind boggling that a person would want to step so far away from their reality into something else that is so detrimental that I mean it makes no sense to me. Instead of getting to the root of what it is, and I believe, like I said, the root is whatever you're allowing into your spirit, into your soul. It's what is causing you to do the things that you do. Or if you surround yourself with a certain type of person or a certain group that participates in certain activities, all those things, even though you might not be the one that's drinking, you might not be the one that's smoking weed, you might not be the one, that's doing drugs, you might not be the one participating in the orgies, but you're watching it, you're listening to it, you're sitting there, you have become a part of it. And sooner or later, it starts to affect your soul, and then you become desensitized to those things because you don't have any healthy habits to help clear that up. So some healthy habits that you could develop, with building your soul or building your spirit. Read your word. Pray. Give yourself a specific time of day to start. I would say as soon as you get out of bed, get on your knees and, talk to the Lord. Lay it all before him. He knows it all anyway, but clear it up. Get it out, of your soul, because sure, folks might try to judge you for what you've done or what you might do and all that sort of thing, but they're only judging you, A, because either they did it before in their life, B, they were too scared to do it, or C, they're thinking about doing it right now, but they'd rather ridicule you. So the attention is off of you, well, off of them and on you. So let's not even let that in. So you're going to be praying. You're going to be reading your word. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Surround yourself with people who aren't afraid to call each other out, for things. Because, it's good to have friends that, just agree with everything that you want to do. But those friends that say, you know what, that's not right. Don't do that. There's another way. Those are the people that truly love you, and those are the people that will be there. Even if you try whatever it is and you fail, they'll be there to help lift you up again, rather than look at you while you're down there and laugh at you because you tried something that you knew you had no business trying. So look at your circle. Look at who you are spending time with. And then lastly, listen to what you're saying. Because whatever you're feeding into yourself should be reflected in your speech. So you can't, feed yourself with good godly messages and then speak words of the enemy. Those things don't, they should not coexist. They have to have some separation. Because otherwise, the word says, a double-minded man is basically worthless. So why not get your mind stayed and focused on one thing? Let it be focused on God and continue to feed your soul with, his word, with positivity, with goodness, with joy, with grace. That way, when your tank is running low, you have a reserve that you can go into and say, you know what, I'm feeling low, but I remember, that the word says I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I'm a lender, not a borrower. Instead of sitting there going, I'm having a bad day and it's just getting worse and I don't know what to do. Then you call your friend, you tell your friend, oh, I'm having a bad day, getting worse. And everybody is negative and sad at this point. No, fill yourself with the goodness of God. And then go back to it when you're struggling. And then you'll see, that healthy habit is going to help you grow. So once you get your mind growing, thriving, and you get your body right with exercising and eating right, and then your soul is on point and clean and clear and in tune with what God has for you, those healthy habits will lead you to your purpose. I guarantee it. Now, how do I know? Because I'm trying to walk and live in my purpose right now, but I'm not quite there yet. There are some things that I am working on in my life to help me get there. Once I get there, y'all gonna know it. You'll be able to look at me and tell. And a lot of people, say after they hear, my full testimony, knowing all the things, that I've gone through in my life, especially with my health, they feel like I'm already walking in my purpose and I'm already doing all these good things. But I feel like, what, there's so much more. There is so many more great things that God has on the horizon, for me and for you. But we have to develop the healthy habits that will support that. So thank you so much for taking a moment out to view episode 72, Healthy Habits. I hope this message was very clear and it stirs some movement, some emotion in your heart, and it gets you to act so you can move closer, to your purpose. I want y'all to have an absolutely amazing